President Trump just pulled off what his critics said was impossible. After weeks of silence, months of brinksmanship, Trump's team walked into Geneva and walked out with a huge deal that's going to benefit the American people. But before we get into what this deal actually does and how it's sending his enemies into full-on meltdown, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to Explain America. We're cutting through the noise with common sense journalism. So, what is the big deal? Donald Trump has finally got a China-U.S. trade deal on the table after decades of the United States getting ripped off since the Clinton administration and the most favored nation trade status and his accession to the WTO. The U.S. has finally reset trade relations with China. So what just happened? Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent and U.S. Trade Representative Jameson Greer announced in Geneva that yes, a deal was reached. It came fast, maybe faster than anyone expected, especially the media. And that in itself is a big deal. So let's take a look at Scott Bessent talking about this huge blockbuster deal that the Trump administration has pulled off.
And I think that led to a great deal of the productivity we've seen. We will be giving details tomorrow. But I can tell you that the talks were productive. We had the Vice Premier, two Vice Ministers who were integrally involved, Ambassador Jameson and myself. And I spoke to President Trump, as did Ambassador Jameson last night, and he is fully informed of what is going on. So there will be a complete briefing tomorrow morning.
And here's U.S. Trade Representative Jameson Greer last night saying that here's how the deal came forward.
I want to echo the Secretary's remarks with respect to the Swiss government. They've been so welcoming, and they've hosted this, and everything has gone off flawlessly, and we appreciate that. And again, to the Chinese negotiators, Vice Premier Liu He, Vice Minister Li Qiangong, and Vice Minister Liao Min worked very diligently, and these are very tough negotiators. A couple of them I know from before and have had past interactions with them. And this was, as the Secretary pointed out, a very constructive 2 days. It's important to understand how quickly we were able to come to agreement, which reflects that perhaps the differences were not so large as maybe thought. That being said, there was a lot of groundwork that went into these 2 days. Just to remember why we're here in the first place, is the United States has a massive $1.2 trillion trade deficit. So the President declared a national emergency and imposed tariffs, and we're confident that the deal we struck with our Chinese partners will help us to work toward resolving that national emergency.
This is the same national emergency Trump declared earlier this year to confront a $1.2 trillion trade deficit. Critics said the tariffs would never work, that the Chinese Communist Party would never cave, that the U.S. would spiral into recession. Instead, China blinked. This is the art of the deal, and America walked away with the upper hand, thanks to President Donald Trump. Now, while final terms dropped today, we already know this builds on the momentum of Trump's surprise UK trade breakthrough last week, a deal that rolled back tariffs on both sides and opened markets for U.S. farm goods, Boeing aircraft, and more. What we're seeing is the rollout of Trump's bold new trade agenda, reciprocal tariffs, tougher enforcement, and targeted diplomacy, not endless summits and failed promises. Bottom line, Trump bet big, and it's paying off. The so-called experts mocked his trade tactics. Now they're scrambling to explain how he just brokered two major deals in under 2 weeks. And that's putting aside the trade framework with India. Now, this is what real American leadership looks like. This has been Kyle Becker for Explain America.